Well, it's been 1 year since George Floyd was killed by police in the U.S. city of Minneapolis. In the city's square where the 46-year-old lost his life, a peaceful ceremony of remembrance was held on Tuesday. And in Washington, D.C., members of Floyd's family met with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and urged Congress to pass a police reform bill to prevent this type of tragedy from happening again. Nathan King has our top story.
The George Floyd family here on the anniversary of his death. They wouldn't have known over a year ago that they would be here, the centre of attention after their brother's murder. And really, they epitomise a cause for justice for African Americans at the hands of largely white police in this country. They're meeting with political leaders. First off was Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic Speaker of the House, trying to push through reforms, of course. We also had a meeting private here at the White House with Joe Biden, the President, and Vice President Kamala Harris.
It was great. He's a genuine guy. They always speak from the heart, and it's a pleasure just to be able to have the chance to meet with him when we have that opportunity too. We're just thankful for what's going on, and we just want this George Floyd Policing Act to be passed in the future.
Now that reform isn't there yet. Remember, Joe Biden, after the death of George Floyd, told his daughter Gianna, who is here, well, she said to him rather, that her father would change the world. And Nancy Pelosi, in her remarks when she met the family, reminded the world of that. Let's take a listen.
Gianna said, "My daddy will change the world." And indeed, her prediction is coming true. And it's coming true because of so many people who worked so hard for decades to make it come true.
Yes, it should be pretty bipartisan, this bill, but as you know, in this divided Washington, we'll wait and see. But there are Republican voices saying they do want this reform, so this visit by the Floyd family could give it a push. The White House had set a date of today to have this law passed. They're going to have to wait a little bit longer, or even longer than that. Let's see. Nathan King, CGTN, just outside the White House.
And as our correspondent Philip Crowther talked to us earlier, reporting the first anniversary of the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, he was interrupted by the sound of continuous shooting, which went on for over half a minute. And here's what happened.
They wanted this bill of comprehensive police reform to be... just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us, excuse us. It sounds like gunshots. I'll let you know what this is. These seem to be gunshots. Where is that?
We're okay, we're okay, we're okay.
We're just going to go.
Quite a scene there. And Norman Ajari is an assistant professor at the Department of Philosophy at Villanova University. And earlier he spoke with my colleague Asiya Namda on different interpretations of how George Floyd's death impacts American society and law enforcement.
I think things have changed in terms of organizing. I think there is a huge, especially in the younger generation, an increase of radical organizing in the streets, a growing interest for those political questions. But I think in terms of radical reforms, radical political reforms, nothing really has changed. People on the streets are asking for radical reforms. They are asking for defunding the police. They are asking for a huge transformation, structural change of how the state manages how they treat black people and poor people in the U.S. And if you hear the establishment, what they're talking about, it's about the personal, individual responsibility of Mr. Chauvin not following the police guidelines, not being a good police officer enough, and so on and so forth. one interpretation is about less policing, and the other interpretation is about more policing and a more efficient and ethical policing. But the activists do not think that an ethical policing is possible in the current situation of the United States of America.